I've been with Ethan for 10 years. When the kidnappers asked him if he would save me or my sister, Ethan didn't hesitate to save my sister. Just because my sister had told him the night before that I had set this up to get his attention. I was tortured by the kidnappers for 7 days and nights. I finally let go of my feelings for Ethan and left him. But then he cried and said he had been deceived, asking me to come back to him. A video of me being tortured by the kidnappers somehow got posted online. In the video, the girlfriend of the Ethan group's heir was crawling on the ground like a dog after being kidnapped by the criminals. When I returned to the city in tatters, crowds of onlookers gathered around to gawk. But I'd already become immune to the shame and embarrassment after those 7 days and nights of inhumane torture. I was no longer the proud heiress who put her dignity first. It was Ethan, Norah, and the kidnappers who together had turned me into this. Norah had told the kidnappers that Ethan would definitely choose to save me. But when the kidnappers pressed a knife to my throat, Ethan didn't even look at me. Instead, he took Norah's hand and left. I walked home barefoot. The blood on my feet, hardened into scabs, got rubbed open again and again. I had become immune to the pain in my body, and just kept walking forward step by step. Not long after, Ethan Group sent people to surround me. Were they here to save me? Of course not. They were only here because Ethan Group didn't want any bad press. Sis, Ethan's got things to handle at the company, so I'm here to take you home. You know how busy Ethan Group is. You won't blame Ethan, right? Norah's face was full of mockery and ridicule. She had always known I would end up a joke like this. I said nothing and walked toward the car. Every step tugged at my wounds, causing waves of pain. But compared to the pain in my heart, the physical pain was trivial. Sis, don't fall now, or you'll have to crawl like a dog again. My face showed no emotion. I should have told Norah that she succeeded. I was finally ready to let go of these 10 years of feelings and leave Ethan. I would stand afar and wish them well, but I didn't respond to her, because I no longer wanted to waste my breath on anything related to Ethan or her. I suppressed the pain in my body, raised my battered arms, opened the car door, and got in. Unexpectedly, Ethan was in the car too. He looked at me with nothing but disdain and disgust. Not a trace of pity. I should have known when he chose my sister without hesitation back then what place I held in his heart. While I was treated like a dog by the kidnappers, they were probably living it up, indulging in luxury. Why the effort to come back, Lisa? I forced a fake smile, no longer caring about his attitude. When the kidnappers cut me with a knife, where was he? Now that I've escaped on my own, he still treats me like this. It's revolting. Before, I might have asked him why he didn't save me, but now, I definitely won't. I'm no longer the naive heiress. Now, I'm a joke to the whole world. He was even more irritated by my silence. Did you spread the video to make me a laughingstock? Who became a laughingstock? As I escaped, I still thought there might be a reason he didn't save me. But now, my last bit of hope is gone. Ethan is just a scumbag. He will never be moved by anything I do, even after 10 years together. He doesn't care if I live or die. He cares about Ethan Group's stock price and his reputation. In his eyes, it would have been better if I had died at the hands of the kidnappers than to appear like this today. I'm sorry to bother you. Ethan laughed. You shouldn't pull these stunts for attention. I didn't understand what he meant. Before I could ask, Norah got in the car. Oh, Ethan. I told sis to get in the other car, but when she heard you were in this one, she insisted on coming. She's gotten your new car all dirty. Following Norah's comment, I instinctively looked at my clothes. They were covered in stains from various things, and after so many days without a shower, the stench on me was unbearable. Sorry for the trouble. I moved to unbuckle my seatbelt and get out of the car, but Ethan beat me to it, grabbing my neck and pinning me down in the car. Is this to make others think I'm heartless? Instead of comforting me, he saw this as a way of threatening him. He held my neck so tightly I could barely breathe. Only when I turned red did he release me. Stop using these worthless tricks. I sat on the edge of the seat, trying to minimize contact with it so as not to dirty Ethan's new car. Norah turned to look at me from the front seat, her face brimming with ridicule. Ethan had the driver drop me off at an Ethan Group-owned bathhouse, saying I was too dirty to go home without a good cleanup. I didn't argue, just watched as he and my sister drove away. Once they left, I walked into the bathhouse. It was one of Ethan Group's least profitable businesses. Even if they weren't informed to close it today, it would be empty regardless. Manager Tom quickly approached me, his face showing surprise, but respectfully asking if I needed any help. I declined their help and went into the bathhouse alone. When the water hit my body, I finally came to my senses. Before being with Ethan, I was a fairly known designer. My mentor had wanted to take me abroad to further my studies, but after meeting Ethan, I turned into a fool for love. Despite my mentor's multiple suggestions to go abroad, I had declined each time. After the bath, the manager had a female attendant bring me clothes. Thank you. Could I please use your phone? She nodded and handed me the phone. I don't think you're as arrogant and domineering as people say. I took the phone and smiled. What do I have to be arrogant and domineering about? Without Ethan's family, I'm nothing. Honestly, I'm just a dog raised by Ethan's family. My family leans on Ethan. If Ethan wanted to switch his interest to my sister, my parents would gladly send her to his bed without a second thought. I called Ethan. He just told me to wait at the spa and then hung up. It was dark by the time Ethan sent someone to pick me up. I wasn't upset at all. I thanked manager Tom and got in the car. The car stopped outside Ethan's mansion. Norah, who was standing at the door, pulled me inside. Sis, Ethan's parents wanted to come out and wait for you, but it's so dark outside. You won't be mad, right? I didn't say anything, letting her pull me in. I saw Ethan's family happily eating at the dinner table. Ethan's parents saw me walk in, put down their chopsticks, and came over. My poor Lisa. Ethan's mom took my hand, tears falling down her face. I didn't know if she was faking it, but even if she was, at least she put on a show. Unlike Ethan, who always looked at me with disdain, Ethan's father told Ethan to take me to wash my hands. He reluctantly walked ahead of me, careful not to touch me. What kind of clothes did manager Tom buy you? He looked at my clothes with extreme distaste. I didn't see anything wrong with them. They were loose and didn't bother my wounds. After washing my hands, I ignored his sarcasm and returned to the dining room. Sis, you finally made it. It's so late. Uncle and Auntie haven't eaten yet and were waiting for you. I had already told Ethan to come get me. He just didn't want to see me. Now it's my fault everyone hasn't eaten. What's more ridiculous is, they were clearly eating when I walked in. How could it be that they didn't eat waiting for me? What does it matter? A family should eat together. The fake concern on everyone's faces made me sick to my stomach. Even though I was starving, the food on the table didn't appeal to me at all. It looked less appetizing than something picked up off the street. Norah kept piling food into my bowl, pretending to show her concern for me in front of Ethan's parents. I just wanted to throw it back in her face. What's wrong, sis? These are all dishes Auntie Ethan specially made for you. You don't like them. Norah always subtly made others dislike me, but I didn't care. None of it mattered anymore. Ethan watched me not react, growing more annoyed. Lisa, didn't you hear that my mom made this for you? Don't be so shameless. I'm sorry, I'll eat it all. Please don't hit me with the belt anymore. I can bark like a dog for you. Just please stop. Everyone was taken aback by my words, probably shocked at how much I'd changed. Ethan just looked disgusted. Are you done acting? Auntie quickly intervened. Don't say that, Ethan. Lisa just got back. She hasn't rested yet. She'll get better soon. I never understood why Ethan said I was acting. He saw the kidnappers take me and Norah. He said to save Norah and left me there. But he always thought it was my fault, that I was acting. After dinner, Auntie asked if I wanted to go home. I shook my head. During my kidnapping, no one looked for me. My parents never treated me like a daughter. They saw me as a tool for advancing the family. It didn't matter if it was me or my sister. Auntie looked at me and sighed. She must have felt sorry for me. I'd loved Ethan for 10 years and got nothing in return. My parents never treated me as a daughter. Even I didn't know why my life was so hard. Seeing I wasn't in a good mood, Auntie consoled me and went back to her room. After she left, I saw Ethan watching me from a distance. I planned to ignore him, but he called out to me. Lisa, you shouldn't compete with Norah for attention. You know I hate women like that. Compete for attention. I'm the one who was abandoned. Sorry, it won't happen again. Ethan looked confused, then laughed loudly. Is this a new tactic? Don't use these weird ways to compete for attention. It just makes me hate you more. He started walking towards me. I took a few steps back, leaning against the wall to keep from falling. I'm not competing for attention. I'll leave you alone and bless you and Norah. Instead of being happy, Ethan looked annoyed. Bless me and Norah. Norah is your sister. Only because of that do I act this way with her. If she wasn't, I wouldn't care. Hearing Ethan's angry and somewhat anxious explanation, I didn't know how to respond. I lowered my head and walked toward the guest room. You shouldn't have said that or think you can leave me. Ethan roughly grabbed my hand, trying to drag me to his room. I squatted on the ground, refusing to move. I bit my lip hard, afraid my crying would disturb others. Suddenly, Norah shouted from the room and ran out quickly. Ethan let go of my hand, looking irritated. "What's up?" Norah clung to Ethan, scared. "Brother Ethan, there's a bug in the room. If there's a bug, get the butler to clean it." "What are you looking for me for?" Ethan complained, but followed Norah into the room. "I'll help Norah with the bug and then come find you." I was kneeling on the ground, gasping for air. Ethan wouldn't come looking for me anymore. I know Ethan too well, and I know Norah too well. One would stop at nothing to retain the other, and the other would pretend to feel awkward to stay. But at least this time, Norah kind of helped me in a way, and I needed to leave here ASAP. I couldn't sleep on the bed, so I grabbed my phone and messaged my old mentor. Maybe because it was too late, I didn't get a reply, but I couldn't just sit here and wait for things to happen. I had to leave this place. At 4 a.m., it was still dark outside. I got dressed, took my phone, and quietly left Ethan's house. I wandered aimlessly down the street, not knowing where to go or where I belonged. "Lisa," hearing someone call my name from behind, my legs instinctively went weak. The person quickly caught me, preventing me from falling. I looked up at an unfamiliar face. "I'm Cobin, your mentor's current student. He saw the video online and was worried about you." Cobin was meticulous and afraid I'd think they were pitying me. He quickly added, "There's a design exhibition nearby. The mentor brought me here to check it out." My eyes stung, and tears started to flow uncontrollably. "Thanks." I thought no one in the world cared about me anymore. Even if I disappeared one day, nobody would notice. But now I know that my mentor has been keeping an eye on me all these years, ready to take me away if I wanted. Cobin seemed at a loss when he saw me crying. "Lisa, the mentor said you can go to him anytime. Or, if you want to go home, I can take you back." "No, I'm not going back." Cobin clearly didn't expect the quiet me to suddenly shout like this. I rolled up my sleeves, showing Cobin my wounds. The sight of the blood made him flinch, and he understood why I reacted so strongly to the idea of going home. "Take me to the mentor." Cobin didn't speak anymore, silently holding my hand and leading me towards the hotel, without a word along the way. After we reached the hotel, Cobin briefly explained my situation to the mentor. He told Cobin to take good care of me and said he'd come back immediately. The mentor might take a while to return. "You know, the old guy loves these exhibitions. Let me take you to get something to eat. There's a kanji shop nearby that's pretty good. I think you haven't eaten well for days. Some kanji would be good for your stomach." For some reason, I felt Cobin, a stranger, treated me better than Ethan's family. He even knew I'd just escaped, and my stomach couldn't handle greasy food. But at Ethan's, the table was full of meat dishes Ethan liked. I nodded, agreeing with Cobin's suggestion. After all these days, I needed a proper meal. "Thank you." Cobin blushed and scratched his head. "No problem." I followed Cobin to the kanji shop. He thoughtfully ordered breakfast for me. The shop owner looked at us sitting so primly like elementary school kids, and couldn't help laughing. "Aren't you two going to chat? It looks like a boot camp here." I looked up at Cobin. Just as he looked at me, I quickly lowered my head again. "Just started dating. So shy." Before I could explain, Cobin pulled the shop owner to get the food. For some reason, even though it was my first time meeting Cobin, he felt oddly familiar. Maybe because we were both the mentor students, it felt like there was a natural familiarity. While I was thinking, Cobin had brought the food over. The mentor called and asked me to pick him up. "You eat slowly here." I nodded and took a sip of the kanji. It felt warm, not just the kanji. At Ethan's house, I never felt I could fully relax, couldn't show my sadness and grievances. Maybe it was because I was far from Ethan now. I felt sleepier and sleepier. Before I knew it, I had fallen asleep leaning against the wall. When I woke up again, Cobin had brought the mentor. "Lisa, the mentor searched for you for a long time." His voice trembled. My heart trembled too, but as I had just woken up, my throat was too hoarse to speak, and tears silently flowed down. I thought no one in the world would love this broken version of me anymore. But being held by the mentor, I realized there would always be someone who loves you. Oh my, this must be meeting the parents. The kanji shop owner couldn't help but gossip seeing the three of us around one table. Hearing the shop owner, Cobin and I were embarrassed again, while the mentor laughed loudly. "How did you know Cobin likes our Lisa? Did he confess while I was away?" The mentor prodded Cobin as he spoke. I looked up at Cobin, his ears turning red. "Mentor, please don't joke. Let's go back to the hotel to rest." The mentor had an understanding look, claiming he had something else to do and told us to go up first. Sorry, the mentor is always like that. I knew the mentor well. He loved playing matchmaker, so I didn't take his comments about Cobin liking me seriously. No worries, he used to say I liked Ethan a lot too. Cobin seemed tense when I mentioned Ethan and quickly changed the topic. I wasn't as fragile as he thought. I had truly moved on from Ethan. Seeing him flustered was quite amusing. Are you planning to go with me? His question was strange, and I tilted my head in confusion. I mean with the mentor, with us. I nodded. Though I hadn't looked at design content in a while, with my previous skills, picking it up shouldn't be too hard. I felt thirsty and instinctively licked my lips. Cobin noticed my small action and quickly got up to get me some water. There's no hot water yet. Just drink a bit for now. I'll go boil some. I took the water from him, sipping it slowly. Cobin started bustling around the room, washing fruit, boiling water, and tidying up things for our professor. Watching Cobin handle everything so meticulously and efficiently, I couldn't help but think whoever marries him in the future would be in for a treat. Just as our professor walked in, Cobin had finished arranging everything. Lisa, I wanted to ask if you'd like to come back with me. When our professor asked, I realized I had never actually told him my plans about going back with him. I was worried about whether my current skills were still impressive to him. Now I felt like I had been overthinking it. After all, he always treated me like his own child. I nodded, and he finally smiled. Just as I stood up to give him a hug, everything turned black, and I fainted. Cobin rushed over, picking me up before the professor could, and placed me on the bed. I vaguely heard them talking about taking me to the hospital. I tried to refuse, afraid Ethan might find me there, but I couldn't open my eyes. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. Cobin, who had been leaning on my bed, felt my movement and quickly went to get the doctor. After a series of checkups, the doctor patted Cobin on the shoulder. Don't look so worried, young man. Your girlfriend is recovering well. She should be able to leave in a few days. This time, Cobin didn't correct him. After thanking the doctor, he poured me a glass of water. You really scared me when you fainted suddenly. I mean, you scared both the professor and me. Sorry, I said, feeling a bit embarrassed and lowering my head. I didn't mean it that way, Cobin quickly explained. We were really worried about you. Seeing me smile, Cobin's tension eased. At lunchtime, Cobin insisted on going to the porridge shop near the hotel to get me some food. I couldn't persuade him otherwise, so I let him go. Just as I was about to rest, Norah showed up with some rotten apples. Sister, long time no see. Looks like you have a new flame now. My face turned cold instantly. How did you find me here? Norah smiled, not bothering to hide anything. Sister, Ethan told me. Ethan again. Why won't these two leave me alone? Always haunting me. I gave Ethan to Norah. Why is she still coming after me? Why won't you leave me alone? I yelled at her, trying to get out of bed to chase her away, but I couldn't even stand up. Sister, since you're with Ethan, you should behave like a good wife instead of seducing others and making Ethan worry about you, Norah said with a vicious look in her eyes. Get out, take Ethan and leave. Norah laughed. You're really hard to kill. I already arranged with the kidnappers to have you raped and killed, to make sure you were gone. But that idiot let you go. Hearing her words, I started trembling. So it was all Norah's plan. Norah, seeing my reaction, proudly continued, Sister, did you know? I told Ethan that our kidnapping was your plot to get his attention. I was worried he wouldn't believe me, but he didn't even need proof. He believed me right away. I was furious. Why is she doing this to me? She doesn't just want Ethan. She wants me dead. I grabbed a pillow and threw it at her, wanting to kill her. Cobin came back at some point. Seeing me in such a state, he yelled at Norah to get out. He quickly came over, holding me and trying to soothe my emotions. Sister, so that's why you betrayed Ethan. With those words, Ethan emerged from behind the door, face dark and frowning. Is what she said true? It's none of your business. Both of you, get out. Cobin gently patted my back, helping me calm down. To Ethan, this scene looked like I was caught cheating. Come back to me now, and I'll forgive you this once. Ethan took a few steps forward, extending his hand, waiting for me to return willingly. Cobin stood in front of me, not saying a word, yet his stance spoke volumes. Lisa, think about it and call me. It wasn't until Ethan and Norah completely disappeared that my breath and heartbeat returned to normal. After their disruption, Cobin practically stayed with me 24/7, not wanting to leave my side, worried something might happen again. The professor had other matters to attend to, so he left quickly, but not before reminding Cobin 1,000 times to ensure my safety. You're getting discharged tomorrow. Where do you plan to go? I shook my head. I hadn't thought about it. As long as I could get away from Ethan, anywhere would do. Cobin pondered for a moment and suggested, how about coming to my place? I looked up at him, a bit puzzled. He wasn't a local. How did he have a place here? My parents visited recently and liked it here. so they bought a place. I still found it odd, staring at Cobin. He started to blush under my gaze, finally deciding to come clean. Lisa, actually, I've always liked you. The reason I wanted your professor as my mentor was because of you. But just as I got accepted, you. Hearing his words shocked me. There had been someone silently liking me all this time. So, when my parents heard I had finally reconnected with you, they decided to buy a house here. Cobin's voice grew softer, his head lowered like a child who had done something wrong. Why didn't you confess to me? Cobin raised his head, perhaps not expecting me to ask so directly. Would you be with me? I chuckled. I had liked Ethan for 10 years. To my family, I was just a pawn to climb the social ladder. So, when it came to love or career, I had nothing to offer. Are you sure you want to be with me? Cobin didn't hesitate at all. He grabbed my hand. I really want to be with you. As long as it's you. I don't care about the rest. Cobin's hand was all sweaty. I laughed at how nervous he was and at my own luck in finding happiness. He held me tightly in his arms, unwilling to let go for a long time. Originally, I was supposed to stay in the hospital until tomorrow, but I really didn't want to stay any longer. Cobin asked the doctor, who agreed to let me leave early and gave him a few reminders before we left the hospital. I called my parents. They'll be here soon. Hearing this, I started to get nervous again. Meeting the parents on the first day of our relationship was awfully quick. Cobin held me close and gently fixed my hair. Don't be nervous. My parents are very nice, and they've known about you for a long time. They've known about me for a long time. Cobin just smiled at me without saying a word. Cobin took me to his apartment building. I clung to his shirt, feeling a bit lost. Lisa, don't be scared. My parents are really gentle people. Cobin's parents came out of the house with enthusiasm. Blushing, I hid behind Cobin like a little girl. Cobin's mom grabbed my hand as if I were a long-lost family member. Lisa, Cobin used to talk about you all the time at home. Cobin looked a bit embarrassed, but still confidently admitted, now Lisa is finally my girlfriend. We hadn't been inside long when Cobin got a phone call. He moved far away from me. I couldn't hear the conversation, but judging by his serious expression and frowning, he seemed to be dealing with some trouble. After about half an hour, he finally hung up the phone. Is something wrong, Cobin? Cobin realized his look might be scaring me. The coldness on his face gradually turned into a smile. I need to go out for a bit. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. Very soon. Cobin talked to his parents for a moment before heading out the door. Despite his reassurances, my heart kept racing for some reason. Until night fell, Cobin still hadn't returned. Lisa, stay here at home while your uncle and I go look for him. Don't worry, that boy is always like this. Cobin's mom reassured me before she and Cobin's dad went out to find him. My heart was beating faster. I was growing more and more worried that something bad might happen. Just as I was feeling most anxious, the phone rang. It was Ethan. If you don't want Cobin to get hurt, come to the villa and meet me. I stood frozen, holding the phone. Ethan, this was Ethan's doing. Why couldn't he just let me go? I had finally left, finally found a home. I couldn't drag Cobin into this. My mind was a mess, but I had only one thought, to save Cobin. I hazily took a cab to Ethan's villa. I'm here. Can you let Cobin go now? The house was dark inside. The curtains fluttered in the wind, making it feel like a haunted house. I mustered my courage and walked forward. The curtains flapped, letting moonlight into the room, and a shadow suddenly appeared. I screamed, and then Ethan turned on the light. Don't be scared, it's me. Hearing Ethan's voice brought back painful memories, but for Cobin's sake, I summoned my courage again. Ethan, can you let Cobin go? There was a pained look on Ethan's face as he heard my words. You came here just for him. You don't think about me at all. I couldn't understand why Ethan thought I'd care about him. After all, he was the one who had handed me over to the kidnappers and chosen my sister over me. My breathing became heavy. Painful memories flooded in, and the echo of a belt hitting my skin seemed fresh in my mind. Ethan, please let Cobin and me go. I'm begging you. Please, please let us go. I kept repeating myself. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry, Lisa. All of it was a plot set up by Norah to win favor. I didn't know it would end up like this. I really didn't know. Not knowing. Did not knowing mean he wasn't at fault? Could not knowing solve everything? He could have spared me all that suffering. I didn't want to hear his explanation anymore. Each time he talked about it, it was like ripping open my wounds and sprinkling salt on them. Please let Cobin go. Ethan's eyes turned red, and he grabbed my hand. Lisa, forget him. We belong together. Let's start over. I'll only believe in you from now on. I fell to the ground like a dog, pleading with him to give Cobin back to me. Please, give Cobin back to me. You can beat me, whip me with the belt until you're satisfied, anything. Just please give Cobin back. Ethan crouched down, looking crazed, speaking in a tone that was both pleading and commanding. I told you to forget him and be with me, because he's already dead. I gave a bitter smile, stood up, and ran to the balcony. I'd rather die with Cobin than be with you. With that, I jumped. Ethan watched in horror as I leapt out of his sight, desperately screaming my name. When I woke up again, I was back in a hospital bed. I hadn't died, just some fractures. Ethan stayed by my side, like Cobin used to. Lisa, you're awake. I turned my head away, refusing to look at him. I'm going to die anyway, so why save me, just to torment me over and over again? Ethan looked at me, desperate and wanting to die, making his heart ache fiercely. I'm sorry, really sorry. Can you forgive me? I'll do anything for you. Hearing Ethan say that, I suddenly felt calm, for some reason. I can forgive you, but you must make Norah suffer as much as I did. Ethan thought that if he did it, we could go back to the way things were. He looked at me with hopeful eyes. Ethan, do you know, those 7 days, I could only sleep in a dog cage. I couldn't sleep, drink water, or eat food. At noon, I was thrown under the sun to roast. When I got thirsty, I had to beg the kidnappers to let me drink some of his urine. I kept wondering when you'd come to rescue me, but you hung up on my calls again and again. The kidnappers mocked me, beat me with a belt over and over, and told me that in your heart, I was worse than a dog. Ethan shook his head wildly when he heard this. I smiled. He had no right to break down, because this was all thanks to him. When the kidnappers saw that you wouldn't come for me, they began to punish me in all kinds of ways. They made me catch cigarette ashes with my hands and put out cigarettes on my arms. The worst pain was when they used a lighter to burn my body randomly. Ethan became more and more broken. He covered his ears, not wanting to hear me anymore. He didn't dare meet my eyes, lowering his head as if repenting for his sins. I'm sorry, I didn't know. You should have told me earlier. Tell you earlier. You were the one who hung up on my calls for help repeatedly. And you saved Norah, leaving me behind. You know what, Ethan? I don't hate you. It's love that turns into hate. When the kidnappers tied me to a tree and whipped me with branches, I wondered what 10 years meant to you. Even when I was running away, I fantasized about you coming to find me. But until I walked back with my feet all torn up, I never saw you. And when you finally showed up, you asked why I let the video get out, why I shamed you. Ethan knelt on the ground, apologizing over and over. Lisa, I'm sorry, really sorry. Norah lied to me. I had no idea it was this bad. Ethan, I said I could forgive you if you made Norah suffer like I did. Ethan clung to that promise like it was the last straw. He didn't care if it was true or not, he just wanted my forgiveness. During those weeks in the hospital, Ethan often came to see me. He visited more frequently than he did in our 10 years together. Until the day I was discharged, he told me, Lisa, Norah's been tortured and dumped in the wild. He showed me a photo on his phone. Norah tortured to the point she barely looked human. Even if she escapes, her life is over. Ethan looked at me like a child waiting for praise. Ethan, there's one last thing. What? Anything you say, I'll do. Kill the person Norah loves the most. Ethan froze, silent, because Norah's most loved person is him. And the last blow I suffered was Ethan killing Cobin. The next second, Ethan stood by the window, smiling at me. Lisa, I love you. Ethan, our 10 years are over. I turned away, not looking at him. Behind me, I heard a bang and people screaming from downstairs. I felt nothing, no emotion at all. It was like my heart died the moment Ethan told me Cobin was dead. I walked out of the hospital, dazed. Then I heard a familiar voice behind me, Lisa. I turned around in shock, tears instantly streaming down my face. Cobin ran to me, hugging me tightly as I trembled in his arms. Later, Cobin and I moved to another city. The next time I heard about Ethan was years later. People said Ethan had gone mad, holding a photo of him and a young girl, reminiscing about the past. But I would never be sad for him again, never go back to him. The Lisa who loved him had died long ago, killed by him.